we have to go through some things that maybe you are here focusing on. For start, let's start with the free speech. Why? Because just today, on the day when we are recording this, I am banned from Facebook. Exactly, my account is suspended. And just yesterday, our government announced it that from yesterday, they have control for whole media space in Croatia, according to new European Information Media Freedom Act. European Media Freedom Act is exactly the name of the new decision, new law, what is now present in the mainstream. Can you tell us what is this European Media Freedom Act?
Well, it sounds very nice, huh? It sounds like freedom. It sounds like that we have that's a difficult word, pluralism in media. But as a matter of fact, it's a censorship for journalists. And they wrapped it up in a very beautiful name, but they can now control all the journalists. And they do that because they want to prevent disinformation, which is strange, because if you want to have real pluralism in journalism, then you need all kinds of voices. But the European Union is really silencing all the dissent voices, people with a different opinion about the European Union, about the Ukraine war, about farmers, everything. So they try to control the narrative. And it's a worrying development, because this is only one part of a, let's say, digital prison that they are creating.
Yes. How they can control it? Can you explain us mechanism? How can do it?
All kinds of things. Well, let's start with the journalists. There is a lot of, let's say, independent media. And we have also a lot of legacy media. And the legacy media, they are the ones who are part of the system for decades. If you control the media, you can control the people, because you are programming people's minds. And that's really what's going on right now. So we have seen that the European Union is spending billions of euros to support NGOs and media and all kinds of to spread their managed propaganda. It's all pro-EU, it's all pro their narrative, and let's say people with a different opinion are silenced. And this is not what democracy is about. The freedom of speech is the very foundation, very bedrock of a democracy. So it's really Orwellian what they are doing to silence people, to defend democracy.
Do you know what is mechanism? For example, take me as an example. Why and how they can censor me or this show, because this is independent show, and I can guarantee that I'm not in the conflict of interest. Everything is financed by private money, exactly money from viewers and my personal money. That means nobody can influence on our policies, exactly of our guests and topics what we are covering. How they can censor me?
Yeah, I think that's really, you're touching the core of the problem. They cannot control you because you are independent, and they want to control everything. And with they, I mean the Brussels elites. And I hate the word elites, but it is what it is. There is a small group of people that try to control everything, and it's not the will of the people. And how can they do that? Because they create the laws, they sit on the money, they pay the NGOs. Our taxpayers' money is used against us to silence us, to program us. And let's say the majority of the people is really watching the legacy media, and the mainstream media, I call them legacy media. And well, they are very these people are very willing to follow the narrative of the European Union, and this is really what's going on. So if there is an independent media, and we have seen it many times also on social media, that the critical voices are being silenced. And it should not happen, but it is happening, and we are really moving away from a true democracy. This is we are heading to a, maybe are we already in the illusion of a democracy.
According to this European Media Freedom Act, they have a board, and this board is established with a member of each country, but these members are also elected from the policy. That means politics. Politics decide which will be member, for example, from Netherlands or from Croatia, and then they are discussing. That means they have a way to influence on them through policies, and of course they're deciding what is information, what is disinformation, malformation, misformation, and also they have fact-checking network, what is paid by our taxpayers' money, and they are saying what is the truth or not, without any law, without any exactly court decision. They are court, they are Ministry of Truth.
Isn't this exactly what they are doing in North Korea? Exactly the same. And everyone who is paid by our government is not independent anymore. If we really want pluralism in journalism, then we need as many free voices as possible. And also the people, also the opinions you don't like. But that's the core of democracy. You can argue with each other in a conversation, but we don't attack each other. But if you try to silence every critical voice, then it's not a democracy anymore. So everyone paid by the government is not, that's not the truth. That is just a PR machine of our elites.
Yes, and well, we saw this also during the crisis in pandemic. And they admitted, Zuckerberg, who is the chief of Facebook, the same thing happened with Twitter at that time. Now it's X. They admitted that they were pressed by the State Department to censor all people who are telling against their policies. And now I thought that from this January, when they promised they will not do it anymore, and just 1 month ago, YouTube said they will not censor anymore, I thought that will stop. But from today, I'm suspended again. Explanation is stupid completely. I don't have a chance to press the charges or anything for now. We'll see. But that means, for example, these policies in the present moment concerning Ukraine and this new possible agreement between Russia and Ukraine, and we now know that Kaja Kallas said there is no such agreement, that she will accept it. That means whoever says something, critics, it could be, feel the same destiny like me.
Yes, yes, yes. It is. I really believe, because I am also in contact with Jim Jordan, who is the president of the Judiciary Committee in the United States about the Digital Services Act. It is affecting not only Europe, but it's affecting globally what they are implementing with the Digital Services Act. But with the Media Freedom Act, it's exactly the same. It is control from Brussels. So maybe the big tech companies don't want to censor anymore, but they are obliged to do so by the European Commission, because these big tech companies can get fines up to 6% of their annual revenue, and that is a huge amount of money. So what they are doing is very scary, because if there is something that is maybe not even controversial, they start to censor up front, because you don't get a penalty for censoring someone, but you do get a penalty for information that is, in the eyes of the European Commission and all their trusted figures, misinformation or disinformation. Let's say the things they don't like. So if there is an intensive to get a penalty for censorship, but you get a penalty for critical voices, these big tech companies start to because they want to prevent that they get a penalty, they start to censor more than it's necessary. I do not know your situation, but I can imagine that you have some critical voices. They don't like it, and I don't think it's the problem of big tech anymore. It's really the problem of the European Union, and we can ask ourselves the question: is the EU still serving the people, or are we working for the EU elites?
Well, my show is covering topics what they don't like at all. We were talking about pandemic fraud, about vaccines fraud, then about different view of Europe, Russian-Ukraine war, different view, that means policies that brought to this war, and what is a response from side of the European Commission. We have huge critics about this, and also we spoke about climate changes and this green transition. And now we see that United States took our standpoint that this green transition is totally wrong, but still European Commission is forcing the same policies. That means all topics what we are talking about, for example, we criticize highly central bank digital currency. We will come to this because we think it's a way of control. We criticize digital IE from the same reason. And this is something what we are covering in this show. Why? Because you can't see the same topics in a mainstream media or legacy media, as you say. And because we are not funding from them, we can freely speak. But until when?